Don't give them a second chance. They damaged you intentionally. There is a sacred truth that resides within each of us, a truth that declares, I am worthy of love, respect, and kindness. Yet sometimes we encounter people who disregard this truth, choosing to harm us intentionally. They chip away at our spirit, leaving behind scars that take time to heal. But today, I want to remind you of your innate power, the power to say no more. Not everyone who enters our lives is meant to stay, and not everyone deserves the gift of a second chance. When someone deliberately damages your heart, your trust, or your peace, it is a call to honor yourself by setting boundaries and protecting your sacred space. When we experience pain, especially caused by someone we trusted or loved, it can feel overwhelming. The initial instinct might be to suppress it, to bury it deep within ourselves, believing that if we don't acknowledge it, it won't affect us. But the truth is, pain that is left unacknowledged will fester, grow, and eventually manifest in ways that are far more destructive than if we had simply allowed ourselves to feel it. The first step in healing from any hurt is to acknowledge the pain. But in doing so, we must do so without judgment. This is not always easy. We may tell ourselves that we shouldn't feel this way, or that we ought to be stronger. We may feel ashamed of our vulnerability, or believe that our pain is a weakness. But let me remind you, pain is not something to be ashamed of. It's a natural human response to the experiences that shape our lives. When someone intentionally hurts us, it is easy to fall into a trap of self-blame or self-doubt. We might ask ourselves, what did I do to deserve this? Or why am I so weak that this has affected me so deeply? These thoughts are part of the human experience, but they only serve to prolong the suffering. The truth is, you didn't deserve to be treated this way, and feeling hurt by it does not make you weak. On the contrary, it shows your capacity for love and connection. It shows that you care deeply, and that's something to be proud of, not ashamed of. In acknowledging the pain without judgment, we give ourselves permission to fully feel whatever comes up. Whether it's sadness, anger, confusion, or disappointment, these emotions are a valid response to what has happened. When we avoid or suppress these emotions, we deny ourselves the chance to heal. Instead of pushing the pain away, we must lean into it and allow ourselves to experience it fully. Only then can we release it and make space for healing. This process can be difficult because our minds often try to protect us by rationalizing the situation. We may convince ourselves that it wasn't that bad or that we should just get over it, but in doing so, we bypass the critical step of truly processing what has happened. If we don't allow ourselves to feel the pain, we risk carrying it with us, influencing our future relationships and preventing us from moving forward. Acknowledging the pain without judgment also means that we give ourselves the grace to be human. We are not perfect, and our emotions are not always neat or predictable. Sometimes we may feel a mix of anger and sadness, or we may not know exactly how we feel at all. And that's okay. The goal is not to have a clear-cut understanding of the pain, but to simply honor it for what it is, a reflection of our emotions in response to something that hurt us. There is also a deeper healing that occurs when we acknowledge our pain without judgment, self-compassion. When we allow ourselves to feel without telling ourselves that we should or shouldn't feel a certain way, we are practicing kindness toward ourselves. We are telling ourselves that it's okay to be vulnerable, it's okay to be hurt, and it's okay to take the time we need to heal. This self-compassion allows us to move through the pain in a gentle way, giving us the strength to heal without the pressure to fix ourselves or move on too quickly. Once we acknowledge the pain, we open the door to a profound shift in perspective. We begin to see the hurt not as something that defines us, but as something that is a part of our experience. It is not who we are. It is simply something we are going through. It becomes a temporary part of our journey, rather than an obstacle that stops us from moving forward. Question: how often do you refer to this pain? This process of self-acknowledgement frees us from the grip of victimhood. When we resist acknowledging our pain, we may unintentionally stay stuck in the past, reliving the hurt over and over again. But by allowing ourselves to fully feel what we feel, we take back control. We honor our emotions and allow ourselves to move forward at our own pace. In embracing the pain without judgment, we create space for healing, growth, and transformation. We recognize that this pain is not something to fear, but something that will eventually lead us to a place of deeper understanding and strength. We may not know the exact path to healing, but by giving ourselves the permission to feel, we are already on the road to recovery. Remember, you are not weak for feeling pain. You are human. You are worthy of love, compassion, and respect, especially from yourself. When you allow yourself to acknowledge the pain without judgment, you give yourself the gift of healing. You allow yourself the space to process, to grow, and to emerge stronger on the other side. Recognizing intentional harm is one of the most important steps in reclaiming your peace and protecting your well-being. Often, when we are hurt by someone, our first instinct is to make excuses for their actions, to rationalize their behavior, or to minimize the impact of their harm. We may tell ourselves that it was a mistake, that they didn't mean it, or that they are just going through a tough time. But sometimes the truth is much harsher. Some people intentionally hurt others, and the pain they cause is deliberate. Recognizing intentional harm is not about blaming or holding grudges. It is about protecting yourself from further injury and learning to set boundaries that honor your worth. Intentional harm is different from accidental harm. Accidental harm happens when someone causes pain without meaning to, often due to misunderstandings, miscommunication, or mistakes. While the impact of the hurt may still be significant, accidental harm typically comes with remorse and a desire to make things right. The person who causes accidental harm may apologize sincerely, make amends, and take steps to ensure it doesn't happen again. Intentional harm, on the other hand, is a conscious decision to hurt, manipulate, or control another person. It stems from a place of malice, disregard, or even a desire for power over someone else, where their well-being depends on your pain is the reason they are trying to hurt you. One of the hardest truths to face is that some people intentionally cause harm because they want to see you suffer, or because they enjoy the power they have over you. This kind of harm may come in various forms: emotional manipulation, gaslighting, betrayal, or even outright cruelty. It often begins subtly with small actions that leave you questioning yourself and then escalates over time. The person who is harming you may use your vulnerabilities against you, twist your words, or create situations that make you feel isolated and confused. They may undermine your self-worth, making you feel as though you are the problem, not their behavior. Recognizing intentional harm is a critical step in protecting your emotional and mental health. It requires you to be honest with yourself, to trust your instincts, and to no longer ignore the warning signs. It is easy to fall into a pattern of self-doubt, questioning whether you are overreacting or imagining things. But deep down, you know the truth. Unlike everyone else, your body and sensory system come into play, reacting to your own internal model of reality. When someone intentionally harms you, your body, heart, and mind will send signals, whether it's a feeling of unease, anger, or the constant erosion of your sense of self. These signs are not to be ignored. They are your inner wisdom trying to tell you that you are being treated in a way that is not acceptable. Once you recognize that the harm is intentional, it becomes easier to set boundaries and protect yourself from further damage. You no longer need to rationalize the behavior or make excuses for it. You can see clearly that the person's actions are not about you, but about their own need to control or hurt. This awareness allows you to break free from the cycle of hurt and reclaim your power. One of the most powerful things you can do when you recognize intentional harm is to stop internalizing it. It is not your fault that someone chose to hurt you. Their actions are a reflection of their character, not yours. It can be tempting to blame yourself or question what you could have done differently, but this is a trap. No one deserves to be intentionally harmed, and it is not a reflection of your worth. Recognizing that you are not to blame is a crucial part of healing. Understanding the difference between intentional and accidental harm also allows you to approach forgiveness from a place of clarity. Forgiveness is a personal choice, and it is not about excusing someone's behavior or allowing them to continue hurting you. It is about releasing the hold that their actions have over you. But forgiveness can only be truly effective when we recognize the harm for what it is. If someone is intentionally harming you, forgiveness should not be used as an excuse to continue allowing them to treat you poorly. Instead, forgiveness is the act of releasing the emotional charge they have on your life so that you can heal and move on. Recognizing intentional harm also requires you to be firm in your boundaries. When someone deliberately harms you, it is essential to protect yourself by setting clear and non-negotiable limits. This may mean distancing yourself from the person, cutting off communication, or even severing ties completely if necessary. It is not a punishment for them. It is an act of self-preservation. This act, setting boundaries, is not about being mean or vengeful. It is about creating space for healing, peace, and self-respect. Finally, recognizing intentional harm allows you to take control of your own healing process. You do not have to remain in a situation that continues to cause you pain. Once you understand that the harm is intentional, you can begin to focus on your own recovery. This may involve seeking support from loved ones, a therapist, or a support group. It may also involve working through your emotions, practicing self-care, and rebuilding your self-esteem. The most important thing is that you take the steps necessary to heal from the harm that was done to you without allowing it to define you or dictate your future. So laugh at yourself and your messy thoughts. Screen your woes to the horizon. Acknowledge what you can to adjust to the reality and keep moving forward. Recognizing intentional harm is not an easy process, but it is a necessary one. It allows you to see people for who they truly are and to make decisions that prioritize your well-being. You deserve to be treated with kindness, respect, and love. When someone fails to offer you this, it is your right to walk away, to heal, and to protect your peace. By recognizing the intentional harm, you take the first step in freeing yourself from its grip and reclaiming your power. Trusting your intuition is one of the most profound gifts you can give yourself. It is an innate internal guide that speaks to you when your mind is clouded by confusion, doubt, or fear. Our intuition is that quiet, steady voice that whispers the truth when we are unsure, guiding us toward decisions that align with our highest good. Unfortunately, many of us have been conditioned to doubt this inner wisdom, relying instead on logic, external validation, or the opinions of others. But when we silence the noise and trust what we feel deep inside, we unlock a source of power and clarity that can guide us through even the most challenging situations. Melanie. Intuition is not just a random hunch or a vague feeling. It is a deeper knowing that transcends logic and reasoning. It is an internal compass that is connected to your highest self, your soul's desires, and the wisdom of the universe. It is the subtle nudge that urges you to go left when everything seems to be pushing you right, or the subtle knowing that someone is not trustworthy, even when there is no concrete evidence to support it. Intuition has a way of cutting through the noise and bringing us back to what is most important: our truth. When we trust our intuition, we stop second-guessing ourselves. We stop seeking approval or validation from others because we know deep down what is right for us. This is not to say that we should ignore reason or dismiss practical considerations, but rather that we learn to balance logic with intuition. Intuition provides us with a deeper layer of insight, one that can't always be explained with facts or figures, but one that feels undeniably true in our hearts. Learning to trust your intuition requires you to quiet the constant chatter of your mind. In our fast-paced world, it can be challenging to slow down enough to hear that inner voice. We are often taught to value logic and rational thinking above all else, but intuition speaks in subtle ways. It doesn't yell at you. It's a soft whisper that comes when you are present and connected to yourself. The more you practice tuning into this voice, the more you'll begin to recognize it as a trusted ally in your life. A common barrier to trusting intuition is the fear of making the wrong choice. We are often afraid that if we trust our gut, we might make a mistake or regret our decision later. But the truth is, even if things don't go as planned, trusting your intuition is never a mistake. It leads you to where you need to be, even if that means learning a lesson along the way. Every experience, whether perceived as good or bad, is an opportunity for growth, and your intuition will always lead you toward the right lesson. When you begin to trust your intuition, you'll notice that it often leads you to things that resonate deeply with you. It might guide you to the right people, the right opportunities, or the right choices that feel in alignment with your purpose. When you ignore your intuition, on the other hand, you may find yourself in situations that feel draining or misaligned with who you truly are. Trusting your intuition allows you to take a more aligned path, one that feels authentic and true to your values. It is also important to recognize that intuition is not based on fear or anxiety. Sometimes we confuse our intuitive feelings with fear-based thinking, and it can be hard to distinguish between the two. Fear arises from a place of insecurity, worry, or doubt, whereas intuition comes from a place of calm certainty. Intuition speaks to us with a sense of clarity, even in uncertain situations, whereas fear tends to cloud our judgment and create confusion. When you begin to trust your intuition, you'll start to feel a sense of peace and confidence, even when making difficult decisions. Another key to trusting your intuition is letting go of the need to control everything. We often try to micromanage every aspect of our lives, planning each step and analyzing every outcome. However, intuition requires us to surrender to the flow of life and trust that things will unfold as they are meant to. When we let go of control, we allow space for the guidance of intuition to come through, leading us in the direction that is right for us, even if it's not the direction we initially expected. End of sentence. Trusting your intuition also means accepting that you are worthy of making decisions that serve your highest good. Many people struggle with trusting their intuition because they don't feel worthy of following their own desires. They may feel guilty or self-doubting when they make decisions that prioritize their needs or dreams. But your intuition is your birthright. It is a part of you, and it is there to help you create the life you truly desire. Trusting your intuition is an act of self-love, a recognition that you deserve to live a life that is authentic, fulfilling, and in alignment with who you truly are. Acceptance is the foundation for trust. As you continue to trust your intuition, you'll notice that it becomes stronger and more refined. The more you listen, the clearer its guidance will become. It will start to feel like a natural, seamless part of your decision-making process, helping you navigate challenges and opportunities with greater ease. And even when things don't turn out exactly as expected, you'll be able to trust that it was meant to unfold this way for a reason. Intuition is not about avoiding mistakes. It's about trusting the journey and knowing that you are always being guided, even when things seem uncertain. Ultimately, trusting your intuition means embracing your inner wisdom and allowing it to guide you in every aspect of your life. It is the key to unlocking your fullest potential, leading you toward choices that are aligned with your soul's purpose. It is the quiet voice that speaks louder than any external noise, and it is always there, waiting for you to listen. Trust your intuition. It will never lead you astray. Releasing the desire to fix or change others is one of the most liberating steps you can take on your journey towards self-love and peace. So often we find ourselves trying to fix those we care about, whether it's a partner, a friend, a family member, or even a colleague. We want to help them overcome their struggles, heal their wounds, or transform certain aspects of their behavior that we believe are holding them back. While this desire may come from a place of love and concern, it ultimately causes us more frustration, resentment, and emotional exhaustion. When we release the need to fix or change others, we create space for acceptance, understanding, and healthier relationships. At the heart of the desire to fix others lies the belief that we know what's best for them. We often assume that if we could just make them see things our way, they would be better off. Maybe we want them to stop a harmful habit, become more open with their feelings, or change their mindset. But the truth is, each person is on their own unique journey, with their own lessons to learn and experiences to face. While we can offer support, advice, and encouragement, the decision to change ultimately lies with them. No amount of persuasion, manipulation, or well-meaning intervention will make someone change unless they are ready and willing to do so. Michael, the first step in releasing the desire to fix others is recognizing that it's not your responsibility. It is not your job to solve everyone else's problems or carry the weight of their personal growth. Each individual is responsible for their own choices, healing, and transformation. When we try to carry this responsibility for others, we take on an unnecessary burden that drains our energy and diverts our focus from our own needs. So it is an exhausting cycle that often leads to feelings of resentment and powerlessness. We cannot change someone else, but we do have control over how we respond to them and the choices we make for ourselves. So now, if you're ready to take your life back, another important reason to release the desire to fix others is that it often stems from an unconscious belief that their problems are a reflection of us. When we see someone struggling, we may feel compelled to intervene because we believe that if we can fix them, we will be able to improve the situation or feel better about ourselves. This may come from a place of insecurity or a desire to feel needed. However, we must recognize that their struggles are not a reflection of our worth or value. We do not need to take on the emotional weight of another person's problems in order to prove our love or capability. Letting go of the need to fix others also frees us from the unhealthy role of savior or fixer in relationships. While offering support and encouragement is part of being a caring partner or friend, the desire to fix can become a power dynamic that undermines true equality and respect. In a relationship, both people should be seen as equals, with the freedom to grow at their own pace and on their own terms. When we take on the role of fixer, we inadvertently disempower the other person, implying that they are not capable of making their own decisions or learning from their mistakes. True love and support come from acceptance, not from trying to mold someone into what we think they should be. When we stop trying to change others, we create space for them to be who they truly are. We stop seeing them through the lens of their flaws or weaknesses and instead begin to appreciate them for their individuality and uniqueness. This shift in perspective allows us to embrace the complexity of human beings, recognizing that everyone has their own path to walk. We no longer try to force them into a mold that we've created for them. We allow them to be themselves without judgment or expectations. This acceptance creates a more loving and compassionate dynamic in our relationships, where both parties can grow and evolve in their own ways. Releasing the desire to fix or change others also helps us focus more on ourselves and our own growth. Often when we are consumed with trying to help someone else change, we neglect our own needs and desires. We may put our own growth on hold, thinking that our efforts are better spent helping others. However, when we release this burden, we free up mental and emotional energy that we can redirect toward our own healing, growth, and fulfillment. By focusing on ourselves, we cultivate a deeper sense of self-love and self-respect, which in turn enhances our ability to give love and support to others in healthy ways. It's important to remember that change is a deeply personal process. People change when they are ready, not because someone else forces them to. Even when we see the potential for growth or healing in someone else, we cannot make the decision for them. They must come to it on their own terms. When we release the desire to change others, we let go of the attachment to specific outcomes and learn to accept the person as they are in the present moment. We trust that if and when they are ready to make a change, they will do so. but it's not our responsibility to make it happen. Ultimately, releasing the desire to fix or change others allows us to foster healthier, more fulfilling relationships. It creates space for mutual respect, understanding, and unconditional love. It teaches us to love people for who they are, not for who we want them to be. When we accept others as they are, without the need to change or fix them, we build a foundation of trust and openness. 2, we let go of control and surrender to the natural flow of life, trusting that everything unfolds as it should. By doing so, we create relationships that are rooted in authenticity, compassion, and true connection. And true connection means that we are actually in sync with the universal greater than us. Let go of the need to fix others. Allow them to be themselves, just as you deserve to be yourself. In doing so, you not only give them the freedom to grow on their own terms, but you also create the space to grow, heal, and love more fully in your own life. Setting boundaries without guilt is a powerful practice that enables you to protect your emotional, mental, and physical well-being while maintaining healthy relationships. For many of us, the idea of setting boundaries brings up feelings of guilt or fear of rejection. We may worry that saying no or asserting our needs will make others angry, upset, or disappointed in us. But if you say, however, boundaries are not about rejecting others or being unkind. They are about respecting yourself and maintaining the balance necessary for a fulfilling and healthy life. When you learn to set boundaries without guilt, you create a space for yourself where your needs are valued and you can thrive. Boundaries are not walls. They are guidelines that allow you to protect your energy, emotions, and time. Setting boundaries is an act of self-care and self-respect. It means honoring your own needs, values, and priorities without compromising your well-being for the sake of others. Boundaries help to establish the limits of what is acceptable in your life and provide clarity for how you expect to be treated. When you set clear boundaries, you create a sense of security for yourself and those around you, because it's easier for others to understand your needs and limits. One of the biggest challenges many people face when it comes to setting boundaries is the fear of disappointing others. We've been taught that saying no or expressing our needs might lead to conflict or hurt feelings. However, it's important to understand that setting boundaries is not about making others unhappy. It is about making sure that your needs are met. In reality, when you fail to set boundaries, you end up sacrificing your own happiness and well-being, which can lead to resentment, burnout, and emotional exhaustion. To set boundaries without guilt, you must first shift your mindset. Understand that you are not responsible for other people's emotions or reactions. You can't control how someone else will feel when you assert your boundaries, but you can control how you prioritize your own needs. It's essential to recognize that taking care of yourself is not selfish, it is necessary. When you prioritize your own well-being, you are better able to show up for others in a healthy, balanced way. You can give more when your cup is full, and you cannot give from an empty cup. Setting boundaries without guilt also means recognizing that it is okay to say no. Saying no is a form of self-respect, not rejection. It is a way to assert that your time, energy, and resources are valuable and that you are choosing to protect them. You do not need to provide elaborate explanations or justifications for your decisions. No is a complete sentence, and it doesn't require an apology. You are not obligated to explain yourself to anyone, and you don't need to feel guilty for choosing what is best for you. Many people struggle with the feeling that setting boundaries will make them seem rude or unkind. This is a misconception. In fact, setting clear and healthy boundaries often improves relationships because it creates an environment of mutual respect. When you communicate your needs effectively, you create space for others to understand and honor those needs. Healthy relationships are built on clear communication, and boundaries are an essential part of that. When you express your limits with kindness and assertiveness, you teach others how to treat you and foster a more balanced, respectful connection. Releasing guilt around boundaries also involves recognizing that it's okay to prioritize your own well-being, even if it means disappointing someone else. In life, we cannot always please everyone, and attempting to do so often leads to frustration and burnout. There will be times when someone's needs conflict with yours, and it's okay to choose yourself in those moments. This doesn't mean you don't care about the other person. It simply means that you recognize the importance of taking care of yourself. By doing so, you create the space to be a more present, loving, and compassionate person in the long run. Another important aspect of setting boundaries without guilt is learning to say yes to what aligns with your values and goals. Boundaries aren't just about saying no to things that drain you. They are also about saying yes to the things that nourish you. When you say yes to activities, people, or opportunities that support your growth and well-being, you reinforce your commitment to yourself. You are consciously choosing to create a life that aligns with your deepest desires and values. And that requires setting boundaries to ensure that your energy is directed toward what truly matters. And it's also crucial to remember that boundaries are not static. They are fluid and can change depending on your needs, circumstances, and growth. What you need today may not be the same as what you need tomorrow, and that's okay. Setting boundaries is an ongoing practice, and it's important to check in with yourself regularly to assess whether your current boundaries still serve you. If you need to adjust them, do so without guilt or fear of judgment. Your boundaries are meant to evolve as you evolve. The practice of setting boundaries without guilt requires patience, self-compassion, and ongoing effort. You may encounter resistance, both from yourself and others, but that is part of the process. Trust in your ability to create the space you need to honor your own well-being. With time, you will find that the more you set boundaries, the easier it becomes, and the more natural it will feel. You'll begin to recognize that setting healthy boundaries is not only essential for your own growth and happiness, but also contributes to the growth and health of your relationships. So it's really important to understand this. But let's look a little at the outcome. Ultimately, setting boundaries without guilt is an act of self-love. It is a way of honoring who you are, what you need, and the value you bring to the world. By setting boundaries, you create the conditions necessary for you to thrive while maintaining the balance between giving and receiving in your relationships. You deserve to live a life that is aligned with your values, and setting boundaries is the key to creating that life. It's time to embrace your worth, trust your needs, and set boundaries with love and without guilt. Choosing forgiveness for yourself rather than for the person who hurt you is one of the most powerful and freeing acts of self-care you can choose to embrace. Forgiveness often carries the misconception that by forgiving someone, we are letting them off the hook for their actions, excusing their behavior, or somehow making it okay. In reality, forgiveness is not about them. It is about freeing yourself from the grip of anger, resentment, and pain that holds you captive. It is a choice you make for your own peace of mind, healing, and emotional freedom." End quote. Holding on to hurt, bitterness, and resentment only keeps you tethered to the past, replaying painful experiences over and over again in your mind. It's easy to feel justified in your anger, and in many cases your pain may be completely understandable. However, the longer you hold on to these negative emotions, the more they consume you. They drain your energy, create emotional and physical stress, and prevent you from moving forward in your life. When you choose forgiveness, you release the hold these emotions have over you, allowing you to heal and reclaim your sense of peace. Forgiveness is not about condoning the wrong that was done to you or pretending it never happened. It is about choosing to let go of the power that the hurt has over you. It is a conscious decision to stop allowing the actions of others to control your emotional state. When you choose forgiveness, you are no longer allowing their behavior to dictate your feelings or your life. Instead, you are taking back your power and choosing to live in a way that supports your well-being. Forgiving someone doesn't mean you forget what happened. It doesn't mean you must continue to allow that person back into your life or trust them again. Forgiveness is about acknowledging the hurt, but then choosing to release it for your own peace of mind. You are not forgiving them for their benefit. You are forgiving them for yours. The act of forgiveness allows you to break free from the cycle of emotional pain and suffering, and it clears the path for healing to occur. One of the most important reasons to choose forgiveness for yourself is that holding on to grudges and unresolved hurt keeps you stuck in the past. You cannot change what has already happened, no matter how much you wish you could. The more you hold on to the pain, the more you let the past dictate your present and future. Forgiveness offers you the opportunity to create a new narrative. It allows you to choose how you want to move forward, free from the burdens of the past. You can't change what was done to you, but you can choose to release its power over your life and start fresh. Forgiveness is an essential part of healing. Emotional wounds, like physical wounds, need to be acknowledged and treated to heal properly. When you hold on to unforgiveness, it festers and grows into something far more harmful than the initial pain. It can manifest as anxiety, depression, stress, or even physical illness. The emotional burden of unforgiveness is heavy and can affect every aspect of your life, from your relationships to your self-esteem to your ability to be present and joyful in the moment. By choosing forgiveness, you make a conscious choice to heal and protect your emotional and physical health. And thereby, you return your attention to what actually matters. Many times we hold on to hurt because we believe that forgiveness somehow invalidates our feelings or minimizes the damage done. It's important to recognize that forgiving someone doesn't mean that what they did was right, nor does it mean that you are excusing their behavior. It simply means that you are choosing to let go of the negative emotions that keep you stuck in a place of hurt. You are acknowledging the pain, but you are not allowing it to define your future. Forgiveness is a way of giving yourself permission to heal and move forward without being weighed down by past wrongs. Choosing forgiveness also allows you to cultivate compassion, not just for others, but for yourself. When we hold on to anger and resentment, we often do so at the cost of our own well-being. We may feel that we are protecting ourselves by staying angry, but in reality, we are only harming ourselves more. By forgiving, we allow ourselves the space to release the negative emotions and make room for positive energy and healing. It's a way of choosing self-compassion over self-punishment. You deserve peace, happiness, and freedom, and forgiveness is the key to unlocking that. Forgiveness does not mean that the other person is let off the hook, nor does it mean that you are obligated to continue a relationship with them. It simply means that you are choosing not to carry the emotional weight of their actions anymore. You are choosing to release the hold their behavior has on your emotions and your life. Forgiveness is a personal decision that is about your own healing journey and peace of mind. When you forgive, you're no longer letting the past dictate how you feel or how you live your life. It's important to understand that forgiveness is a process, not a one-time event. It may take time to fully let go of the hurt and pain, and that's okay. Be patient with yourself and recognize that healing is a journey. You may have to forgive again and again, especially if the pain resurfaces. But each time you choose forgiveness, you move closer to emotional freedom. Over time, forgiveness will become easier, and the burden of anger and resentment will lift. By choosing forgiveness, you make the decision to stop allowing the actions of others to control your emotional state. You give yourself permission to heal, to move forward, and to live your life with peace and joy. Forgiveness is a gift you give to yourself, one that releases you from the emotional chains of the past and opens up a future full of possibilities. It is a powerful tool for healing, growth, and self-compassion. Choose forgiveness for yourself, not for them, and embrace the peace and freedom that come with it.